So good evening, guys. Welcome to Jyoti Tech Club presents Bootcamp or Hackathon. Um, Today is session one, and we'll be covering quite a few topics today. We'll not be getting into the depth of all these topics, but this is just to start your development. If you're this session is I manage such that the syllabus of the session is such that new guys and who are starting fresh can pick up a few concepts and then develop on it. So the topic would be HTML, CSS, Bootstrap for styling, JavaScript, and Firebase APIs. The duration of this session would roughly be around about 1.5 hours. So hold back and stick with us for 1.5 hours. Trust me, it will be worth it. And if you have any doubts in the middle, please feel free to interrupt us. And myself, Shishira Nagraj of SEM5CSE, and Saket Jairam, my dear friend, will be taking the session. We'll be taking the session. So we'll start now. If you have any doubts, please feel free to interrupt us in the middle. I request you to keep your laptops or keep your computers ready and do it along with us. We'll not be too fast. So you can follow us along the way. The whole course is designed so that it will help you kickstart your development. Mm. So anyways, let's start. Saket, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi guys, I'm Saket.
So thank you, Saket. I'll be showing you. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
visible,
Okay.
Shishira.
Okay. I'll be showing you the designs of what we have planned, like a few examples we have planned, which we'll be developing. So here are the designs. These are simple designs that I did it in like 20 minutes. This is what we'll be doing today. A basic website which will have a homepage, um, title for the homepage, and navigation buttons, and a bit of text here. And this is the image that we have used. I'm using a tool called Adobe XD, that's for design. You'll have a full session on how to design and all that stuff by Aditya day after tomorrow. Aditya from 7sim, he'll be handling the whole designing part. I've used this tool called Adobe XD, and this is how your home page will look. And moving on to the next page, the page called register. The theme behind this is it's just a form, a general purpose form to fill in for all your purposes. Like let's say an event. Let's say this talk we are having right now. You want a web page to register people into that, RSVP into that. So that's the use case of this website. So this is the register page. It has a few text fields in it: name, phone number, email ID, semester. And once you hit submit, what happens is it goes and sits in your database. That's stored permanently there. And in the next page, all the residents who have entered, like filled in the form, those people, that information can be viewed here one by one. So I have called this simply as the admin page. So this is going to be the whole theme of what we'll be doing today. We'll take you through all the basic technology that's required to get this done. So me and Saket have not done this in the past. It's a challenge for us also. It's my first official session. So it's our both mine and Saket's both first official session we are taking. This is the first one, and we are glad that it happened in our college itself. So this is what we'll be doing today. And this website also is not pre-built. We don't have any repository as such. We are going to build the entire thing in front of you, get it working, everything in within 1.5 hours, hopefully. And hope you can use this and build up from here. So like I said, we are going to be using HTML, CSS, and a bit of JavaScript to get this done. And for website, I mean for database, we'll be using Firebase. That's Google's pre-built API tool called Google Firebase, which is a non-SQL database, object-based non-SQL database. What it does is you don't have to write a database as such, like how we do in SQL and all that. You don't have to do that. Google has done everything for us. You just have to go click some few things. You get an API call for it for storing your data and retrieving it back. All that is done by Google, and it's free of cost. Nobody has to put anything, not even your credit cards, I believe. Nothing is required. So that's the fastest approach I know to use a database. That's more than enough for handling basic data functions. So that's what we'll be using today. So this thing, Firebase APIs. So we are going to show everything of this built right in front of your eyes and get it working. Like I said, we don't have this built ready-made. It'll all be done right in front of your eyes, and hopefully within 1.5 hours, we'll have this design working. Okay, this is just a photo of this. Like it's not a functional site. It's just a few components I've thrown in, drag and drop. This is just an image. It's not a functional site. So we are going to try attempting to build this in the next 1.5 hours. Saket will be handling all the development part. I'll be there to give. I'll be giving a live commentary on all of it, whatever he is up to. I'll be narrating the whole thing. And if you have any doubts in the middle, we both are here to solve it. And you can interrupt us or put your messages on the chat box on Google Meet, so we can take them one by one. So Saket, carry on from here.
Oh, okay, Shishir. I'll start sharing my screen now.
Okay, I'll stop mine. Yeah.
Also, just a gentle reminder for all of you guys, please try to RSVP on the link given in the chat. If you just joined, I will be sharing it again. Please do not miss this. Thank you.
Is my screen
Karthik,
visible, Shishira?
Karthik, sorry to interrupt, but just give some 2 seconds, a brief about what this is, so that people go and they sign into that.
Yeah, okay. So this is the official community for the Tech Club of Jyoti IT on Code Academy. So this is a platform to manage the community. So that's about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Karthik.
Yeah,
Yes,
Shishira, is my
Saket.
screen
Shuru
visible?
madam.
Now we are going to be build this part of homepage. We'll be starting with implementation of this homepage, and now we'll be starting with the this navigation bar. So I have a folder here, JIT Bootcamp. I'll be opening my VS Code in that itself. So here we have a navigation bar. So I'll start with creation of home page. So basically the web pages are saved as .html extension with .html and extension. So I'll be creating a file named home with .html extension. To create boilerplate code for HTML pages, there is a feature by VS Code. When you type exclamatory, there will be a suggestion. The first one, it will automatically create a boilerplate code. So since this is a home page, I'll be titling it as home. So once I'm done with it, I'll start with implementation of this nav page, navigation bar. Navigation bar contains this logo like thing, and 3 links which routes to these pages. So I'll be creating a minimum with HTML thing, and then later I'll be adding CSS to it. So there's an extension called live server for to implement as well as to show to open it in browser.
So what live server basically will do is, as you're building, as you're changing stuff on your web page, you know how we generally open HTML files, right? They're static. What live server does it updates every single line whenever you change stuff. Whenever you hit save on your page, live server will detect that and change it on your web browser. So that will be helpful when you're developing. Live agi, it will get changed. You can see
Yeah.
what's going on, what you're doing. So that's what Saket is setting up right now. He's using VS Code as his choice for Visual Studio Code as his choice of the editor. I suggest everybody please use this. It's very user friendly and it has a lot of inbuilt functions like tools with it like live server and all that. It's a very user friendly tool. So Saket is setting that up right now, and
I have
also
already
yeah,
have it
he has it
installed. So
installed. Yes, he has it
yeah.
installed already. So if
So
anybody is doing it as we go on through the session, if we are also doing it parallelly, please do it. Please do whatever we are up to right now. If you feel it's a bit too fast or you're not getting something, please interrupt us. So Saket, yeah, carry on.
yeah. So once that extension is installed, you will get a option to go live. When you click on this, it will open this page in browser itself. So since there is nothing on our page, nothing is shown in browser. So now we'll start implementing that Navar has first implement that part. A div is something which groups set of elements. So I'll be placing a div, and then inside that div, I'll be placing a div for JIT Hackathon 2020, and the rest and the other div for rest of the three links. So
So Saket, what he has done basically is divided up single pages as his one HTML file. What he is up to right now is putting a navigation title on your, like he has divided up what all segments are coming up in your page so that they, whatever he is typing in right now is for the title. H3 means heading, 3 means third style in the heading. If you don't have a basic idea of what all those means, please Google parallelly. If we keep telling every single one of those elements, we can't finish the session in the given time. Hey Madhavan, sorry about that. We can't put the code on the chat as we do it. The whole repository will be shared to you later, so you can break it apart and get into it. The whole repository will be sent to you later at the end of the session. So what he is right now doing is on another div, he is setting up hrefs. A tag and a href means linking your pages. It's used for basically hyperreference, hyperlinks. What he'll be up to right now is slash home means your home page, slash register means your register page, slash admin means your admin page. So when you click on each one of those elements, it will take you, redirect you to another page. So that's what he's setting up right now. So Saket right now is building just the bare bone HTML of it. And later he'll be adding the style. This is how your approach should be. Do not think about your how your UI will look from from the first word of your development. Don't do that. So first build your barebone page, add functionality to it, then give it a style. So so what will happen is you'll not be going for a visual based process of development, but rather functional based functionality based development. So that's what I request you to do. And if you're there are 55 of this, I at least request a few of you to do it parallelly with us. If you have doubts, please interrupt.
So I have created register and admin files to route for register and admin pages. So when you click on this register, it will display register.html in browser. So let's give it a try. I'll play some stuff here in admin page. I'll try clicking on any of these links. You can see that it's home.html is being loaded here. So when I click on register, since in register.html there is only one thing, register, it is getting displayed here. And then when you click on admin, just admin is being displayed, since there is just admin in body section of this admin.html. So after this, there is something like this. There is a background for everything. So we'll handle that in CSS later. First, let's just create bare bones of this web page. There is welcome to bootcamp, and there are 3 paragraphs over here. So I'll be grouping all these 3 paragraphs with a div and a paragraph for this, this, and this. So now we'll implement that part.
So a tag is a hyperlink tag, and href, that attribute right there, href equal to double quotes, and whatever in the double quotes is means you're redirecting that, you're giving links. So what he is doing right now is creating 3 pages, one called what was the page? Yeah, home.html, register.html, and admin.html. Those are the 3 pages he'll be creating. And right now he's working on home.html, where we have that text welcome to bootcamp and all that. A p tag is called a paragraph tag. If you want to put in text, you can use paragraph tags or header tags. So a p tag will help you to put in text into your web page. So that's what Saket is up to right now.
Yeah. So now that's done. Now let's see how our home.html looks like. You can see that all the contents that's being shown in home.html is shown here, but it doesn't look that attractive. So to make these web pages look attractive, we add CSS to it. So, CSS stands for cascaded style sheets. To add styles to these HTML elements, we use that CSS. We'll create a home.css to add styles for the elements that present in home.html file. We need to import that home.css file to this home.html. Unless if you don't import that, the styles won't get reflected. So I'm importing it.
And when you're using basic HTML, all your import should be in the head tag of your page. That's because the head tag is the first thing that's loaded onto your browser. So whatever you're importing, any packages or any files into your page, please import it in the head tag, and that gets imported. Like the home.css page is now linked to your home.html page. HTML page is just used for scripting for all your visual components, and your CSS page, like Saket told, a cascaded style sheet is used purely for styling. That's a language on its own, just for styling elements. So that's what
Yeah.
we'll be up to next.
Yeah, let's just verify whether this om.css got imported correctly or not. Let's try giving it a style. Let's style the body with color red or something, some random color. Let's see whether the changes get updated. See, you can see that every content, every send string here is in red color. So our home.css got imported into home.html, home.html. So now let's see how did we do that. There are basically 3 or 4 types of basic selectors. Here we are targeting on body element itself. So these are known when you target on some certain elements, we call it as group selectors. We can target on body or just heading tags. When you target on just one particular group of elements, these properties get updated applied to only that group of element. So here we have h1 here, where here J8 Hackathon 2020 has h3. Oh, just I'll make this h3. So here we are targeting just h3 tags. So J8 Hackathon 2020 should come in red color. Let's see whether it's in red or not. You can see here, this J8 Hackathon 2020 is in red. Rest other are in black or blue. Yeah. So we can target either a group or we'll see rest of the things in future. First.
So
So
Saket is basically writing objects in CSS file. H3 means all the objects that use the H3 tag in your HTML will use the style property called H3, where Saket has written color red. For that, color red means all your style components like font, your buttons, all those things will come in red. So that's what Saket just did.
yeah. So here we can see that the background is let's just say here all the contents are getting displayed in one single line here. JIT Hackathon 2020 and this thing. So we'll now try to do that thing next. So since all these elements are to be displayed in a row, we need to target this part of our code. So we'll name this with some ID or class. In this case, I'm choosing ID. I'll be writing it as nav. So when you want to target some div, there are actually many others divs here too. So if we target this div with CS, or by CSS, and that property may also get applied to these divs. So we'll catch out of this ID, and then we'll style it using ID. To style using ID, we'll use this hash symbol, hash with the ID name. Here the ID is nav. So I'll do like this now, hash now. So whatever the properties I give here will get applied only to this part. So now let's see how it should look like. The background should be of black color. You can see here that the background is black in color. So we have to make the background as black, and then the contents on it to be in white. So we'll make that first. The background should be black. There is a property called background color, using which we can set background. Since the background is black in color, so we'll write black. Let's see. You can see here that the background of navigation bar is black, but there are some white spaces over here, left, right, and top. But in our design, we don't have such white spaces. You can see here there is no such white spaces, so we have to remove that. To remove that, there is another selector which selects every element. So that is star asterisk. We use asterisk symbol to select everything. We'll try to reset everything. We'll reset its margin to 0 pixels and padding to 0 pixels. So when we do this, all the padding and margin of that all this there would be some default margins and paddings to all the elements. So we are trying to reset everything. I did a reset here, and now the navigation bar is in black color, and the contents of it must be in white. So I'll make it white. Color property is used to set the font color. So let's see what are they. Now the content is in white, but still we get home, register, and admin in blue color. This is because we have used here, we have used anchor tags here, and anchor tags have the default CSS. We will override them in few minutes.
Saket, Swarup Sridhar has asked how to import once again.
Yeah, okay. See, to import CSS, we use this link element. Link and the relationship between this home.css and our HTML pages, it's a style sheet. So we place it style sheet here. And since the home.css is in same folder as of home.html, we use this relative path. Relative path works like this. See, if you do dots and then slash, it means this current directory, this directory. If you do dot dot and then slash, you mean the parent directory. And if it is a child directory, let's say JIT, and then we have some a.css in it. So import that a.css, we need to do like this. Since the hey.css is in child directory, and I mean the directory which is in correct directory, we can do it like this. The directory name and then a.css. This is how imports are made. Am I clear? Who is that?
Swarup, yes. Swarup, is that clear to you? You can unmute yourself, no problem. Okay, he told yes.
Well,
Okay. Carry on, Saket.
we want our JIT hackathon to be somewhere like we need to have some space between the whole page and this JIT hackathon 2020. So we need to give some margin to it. So to give margin to it, we have to first specify the div. I did again to address this div. Again, I'll give a margin to that heading. Since the margin is to be given to left, top and bottom. So see, you can see here that there is some space in between left, top, and bottom also. So we need to give space between left, top, and bottom. So I'll just place margin, and I'll give around 20 pixel on all sides. That's what happens.
So what Saket right now did is margin means a bit of gap on four sides, all the four sides of your component. And hash heading means he just created an object for that particular heading tag, which in the HTML.html file, he linked it through ID equal to heading. That's right, Saket? So that's what he did. Padding is also the same. Padding means how much gap between
Yeah.
inner and outer gap between the
You're
elements
right.
are needed. 20 pixel px means
See, again, you can notice that I have removed margin and I have placed padding here.
that's right.
I have given padding here. You can see that there was some gap between this nav bar and JIT hackathon. Though we are targeting heading element, nav elements padding margin was getting affected. That's because this heading element was inside this nav element, and when we are giving a margin to this heading, this was also getting affected. So when I changed this to padding. When I did this to padding, you can see I'll change the color of this heading thing to red. You can observe that this takes all space of this nav, and when I give margin to it, you can see that it also gets this navigation bar with it. So I'll change this to padding. So now we can see that there is a space between this J8 hackathon heading left and top also. So now we have to move this home register and admin to the right side of this. So since let's see how the structure is now. Okay. Now if you make this navigation div as flex, all these two child elements of this nav element become yeah, can be placed side by side if we do it as a flex. So let's try making it as a flex.
Saket, can you tell me what flex is?
Yeah, flex is something like it's like a container which has some property like if you want some its child element to be placed either in rows or columns, we can manage that using flex.
That's
No,
great.
just
So what you're telling me is
yeah,
child and parent element gets linked with each other, something like
yeah,
that. Okay, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. Okay. I'll make this nav as flex. So to make this flex, we use property called display, and we'll set it to flex. So when we do that, you can see that this home register admin also got placed uh, hot. Now we want this J8 hackathon and this home register admin to be placed on the right side. Am I audible?
Yes, Saket. There was a bit of a lag there, but you're audible now.
Fine. I'll catch hold of this navigation links and place it on the right side of this nav bar. You can here see that now JIT Hackathon 2020 is in center, but home register admin or have stick at the top of this nav bar. Now let's align all this in center. To make them align in center, we can use align items property and make it center. Let's see. You can see now every JIT Hackathon 2020 and home. These nav links are aligned vertically. I mean horizontally. Here you can see here that nav A tags are inside this nav links. So to change the styling of this A tags, we can do it like this. Nav links inside nav links there are A tags. So A inside nav links, and we have to make its color to be white. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. Now everything is in white, and the font we have to increase its font size, I guess. Yeah. Here the everything is in a little bit bigger than here. So we'll make it a little more bigger fonts. Font size properties are used to give the size for the elements. I'll make it large. So let's see how it looks like. Yeah, now it's pretty large than before, and we have to say here you can see here home register and admin are like kind of congested, so we have to give some space between home register admin. To give space between them, we can use padding or margin property. Let's give some 12 pixels. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, it's good. So here both of them are placed side by side, but what we want is home register and admin should Jait Hackathon 2020 should be left and home register admin should be right. So let's make that using justify content.
Like I said, CSS are all basically your regular English commands. It's not a coding programming language as such. It's just a scripting language that's written in pure English. So you get some hack sheets for all this. If you Google, you get plenty of hack sheets for this to make it easier for you to remember all that. Of course, if you're a frequent user of all this, you'll remember like Saket this. So Saket knows it all in the tip of his tongues. If you don't know that, or if you're a starter at all this, you can always Google stuff and you get plenty of help on all this. Just Google directly what you want to do, and you pretty much get every single command out there. Saket, can you show
Yeah,
one? Can you Google one thing and show like
yeah. I've
to
already googled many of stuff, Jesse.
see?
Before starting this session, I didn't know how to place this image as a whole of background for this entire page. So I googled it and I found answer for me. Yeah, you can see here there is a property called background size, and when we set that to cover it, it covers the entire element. So that is how I got to know how to do this. See, to cover all this background.
So
And I
just
didn't know.
just in your
Yeah,
most basic words, Google things, and you will pretty much get the solutions right there. So what I'm telling you is, if you are contesting in hackathon and you can't figure stuff out, or you're stuck for some reason, or if your page does not look the way you want it to look, please Google the most basic words, and Google right there has all the answers. So that's what I'm trying to tell here.
yeah. This is what I googled: how to set background image in HTML, and I got this result. And I didn't know that good. I was not that good at Flex either, so I googled it too. So I got to know how to use that Flex, and now I started using it here. See, you can see I've used Flex here. Yeah, that's like yeah. Now we can see that JIT Hackathon is on left and home register admin are on right. Now we have to set background. Before setting background, let's just place this somewhere here. By our design, we have to set somewhere here. So let's make that first.
Hey Vinay, sure. I'll Google some style cheat code for you, and share it on the group. I'll do that later. Can you repeat last two steps to put item right side? Karthik, sure. Saket, can you
Yeah, yeah,
repeat?
sure. Yes. Yeah, when I remove this justify content space between, you can see that all the items are aligned just by side. You can see that here. See, it's just when you make this navbar to be displayed as flex, by default it displays in row. You can also make it to displayed in column wise. So let's try making that. You can make that like uh, column by using flex direction property. Flex direction, if you set it to column, all the things goes one below the other. You can see here JIT hackathon. The reason why it's getting displayed in center is by default the justify content attribute, the default value of justify content attribute is center. So when you when you make something as flex, and the justify content also gets value as center, so everything is displayed center here. And since we have set flex direction as column, both the child elements of nav are displayed in column. When you make it row, both of the child elements displayed side by side, and we want space between these two elements, like this should be in left side and this should be in right side. So to make that, since we have grouped both of them, see, we have grouped using heading and nav links. We have wrapped it under a div. So since we have done this, we can make this since these two are the child of this nav div, we can make this to go left and this to go right using justify content property. When you set justify content to space between, there will get space between both those child elements. That's how we placed J8 Hackathon 2020 to left and home register admin to right. Is that clear?
Karthik, is that
Is
clear?
that
Yeah, you're clear. Thank you.
Okay.
so? Now let's try positioning this to somewhere here. So for that, I'll just go here and give it an ID as ID. And now let's try styling it. Before that, you can see here that we don't have underline to this thing, home register and HTML, but in our implementation, we have that underline thing. So to remove that, there is a property called text decoration. We'll set that to none. When we set that to none, see, you can see that that's gone. That underline thing has gone. Now let's implement this part.
So you can see that basically the navigation bar on the top of the page is done. It took us what 20 minutes to do it. So it's almost done. He just has to link the pages now when they're built, and he'll be styling the body of the home page now. And you can see here on home.html how Saket has followed a hierarchy of HTML tags from the top, head, body, and the div tags inside that defines a particular component in your page. He has followed a particular hierarchy as to know which component is going where. HTML is not like CSS. You don't need to indent it, but for good practices and to clear it up for whoever is developing it, and when you go back to the code later after a year or after 6 months, trust me, what you have written 6 months ago, you cannot make it up if you don't follow the best practices. If you don't follow the hierarchy or the indentation like Saket has just done here, how the A tag has come inside div tag and what he is doing right now, commenting stuff. Commenting basically is a self-reference to whoever is developing. So you can see heading goes here, heading ends here, content starts here. He's just making a note for himself. So as to when he visits back his code after like 6 months or a year, let's say 10 years, if when you're deep into the profession, hopefully it will be useful for Saket. So that's something about the best practices you can follow in web development. These practices are something you should follow regardless of what language or scripting language you're using. These are just best programming practices in general. Regardless of what code you're writing, C, Python strictly follows indentation, so you can't play around with it. The compiler will give warnings and errors and doesn't execute your code unless you follow indentation. But regardless of the Java, all those things, it's better to follow indentation or a hierarchy like this. So it will be easier just for you itself.
Yeah. Now here
All
we
right,
can
guys,
see that
give me a moment. So while the session is happening in a very good manner, I would like to steal a couple of minutes again to ask you to get into this particular link which I shared on the chat. So please go here and RSVP yourselves because this is important for us to keep a track of who all attended the event. So I kindly request you all to do this right now because I see just 9 of you have done this, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
I'd also like to ask all the participants of this session, is there any changes we need to do, a change in pace or something like that? Is that required? Are you understanding stuff? You can unmute yourself and please talk. We'd like that.
or else you could just post it in chat box.
That's also fine, yes. So, Saket, carry on.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Now here we can see that the content can be placed in one div, and the rest other things also need to be placed in other div. Why? Because the parent div must have background to be this image, and other child div should have this content. So I'll wrap this this content in a parent div. So let's make that. Now we need this body. Yeah, this is kind of confusing. So I'll rename it to something else. Since we need to have a background image, so there's an property called background image which we can set using URL. There is a bit called URL using which you can set background. There is a bg.jpg in my current directory, which is that image. So we can use that image to set our background. All these assets will be shared later. So now let's see how it looks like.
Hey Tushar, okay, we'll try to slow things down, but we also need to keep a track of time. We cannot along this forever. So don't worry about it. The repository will be shared to you at later. The whole files and all that will be shared to you later. So you can look back to that and better understand it. We'll surely try to slow things up a little.
I've applied this background image property, and but the image isn't getting reflected. So what I do is I just Google the things.
So Saket is right now searching our hack into what he can do about background image not turning up.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to tell again is, in case you're stuck up, please Google stuff, or if you're in the hackathon, of course, your mentors will be right beside you 24/7. So you can ask them to help you out. Saket, is it still not working?
Yeah. No. Yeah, just a minute. Some of my friends have helped me here. See, you can see here that I used dot here, but instead of dot, I should have used hash. Since we are given it ID as content, we need to use hash instead of dot. When we use dot is when there is instead of ID we use, if we use class, we need to give it dot here. So this might work now. Might again. There is just a minute. I didn't save it. So you can see here, we got that image, but we can see that the image is getting repeated here. So to stop getting it repeated, we have some other property like background repeat. When we set it to no repeat, it doesn't get repeated. Yeah, you can see here, it isn't getting repeated. But the width is not full screen, so I'll try resizing this so that we can get this background image to fit our height and width. There is another thing called when you hold of Control Shift I, you can get developer tools for Chrome where you can change the height and width of some properties here.
So Saket, what he is doing right now is without getting into the actual scripting code, he's trying to modify it on his browser itself to test if it's working or not. So that's what
Yeah.
Saket is doing right now.
Now we can see here, we have set background property to content. Here you can see all the styles of that content. We'll try increasing it. Width, we need to have it little bigger. What I can see here is width is getting bigger, but image isn't getting bigger. So there's a property called background size. When we set it to cover, it wraps the whole element. Yeah, I googled it previously, right? The same thing. When we set background size to cover, it wraps the whole content div. Let's see if it works. See, yeah, it worked. You can see here that background wrapped the whole div ID. So now the height of this div isn't sufficient to wrap this whole screen. So let's open our developer console here again. We'll click on this content and again we'll try increasing this height, viewport height. Let's just say let's set it to 100 viewport height. We had stand for viewport height. Let's see whether it covered the whole screen. Fine. So now let's set this to
You just asked how the image came now. Saket had done a mistake in his syntax. So basically, he used dot content with ID as his linking term. So that's why it didn't work. It was a compatibility issue. So it was a mistake on Saket's end.
yeah.
So whenever you run into syntax error or mistakes like that, don't panic. Just Google stuff. You'll pretty much find a hack around it.
Yeah, don't hesitate to ask your friends also.
Exactly.
That would help. You can see our image is going out of our screen width. So I'll just reduce it a bit. Yeah, it looks good now. Yeah, now we have this welcome to Bootstrap bootcamp, but this doesn't what this wasn't supposed to be here, but it should be displayed somewhere here to left. So since this is not visible to us yet, so let's make it white first. Since we have ID as text here, so now let's set that to white first. Now it's working. So the size of this should be a little more bigger than this. So let's set that. When all this possible value, like all the font sizes, these values are gone, you can also set it using pixels, like 50 pixels. Let's just say it's pretty big now. So I'll set it to like some 30 pixels. No, it's still bigger. Now it may look kind of good. So now let's style this paragraph inside text. So we can see here that there's some space between paragraphs. So let's target that thing. To target that paragraphs inside text, you can use this text space then paragraph. We are targeting all the p tags inside this text. So we'll give margin top and bottom. we uh, we need to set this paragraph to be placed somewhere in middle of this content div. So to make that, I'll make this content also as flex, and I'll align this content, align the items of this content in center. So this might work now. Yeah, it's working, but this seems to be going little bigger than what we wanted. See, you can see here that it doesn't touch this white thing here. So let's reduce this text divs width. We can use width property to change the width. So, again, I'll open my developer tool. I'll when I do Control Shift C, you can hover and select elements. I did that, and we have to select this thing. And when we want width bigger than this, let's just keep increasing. Yeah. This seems this this is okay. So we should set this to some 236 pixels, I guess. 236 pixels.
So what Saket right now is doing is making use of your browser's developer window, developer tools to see how the see a preview of what suits your web page. So as to it's a good approach because without actually writing the code first or without actually changing the code first, putting your hands right into the code, you can make use of your browser to see how the components are acting as per your properties. So that's what Saket did right now. And we pretty much have the design ready for our homepage. Saket, show them the XG file again, please.
Yeah, sure.
So it's pretty much done. Whatever is visible here is visible there also. I think the width of paragraph needs to increase a little bit, but okay, that's okay. But that's pretty much done.
Yeah, I can increase that.
Yeah. But apart from that, the home page is now done.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. And Saket will be going into the register page next.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
You can see here that there is some overflow on x direction and as well as y direction. To hide that overflow, we have a property called overflow. Like, we can prevent that from overflowing. So to do that, I'll select this body group and I'll hide the overflows. That's it. Yep, everything is getting hidden. We can see here that our width of this image isn't sufficient. We are getting a white patch over here. So to fix that, we have to increase its width. Again, I'm opening my developer console. This content thing, the width should be increased. So I'll make it as 100. Yeah, it worked. So when I make it 100, it wraps the whole high level space here. I made it as 100. Does it look good now? Or
Yes, it looks good. It looks as per our design. So
I'll increase this a little bit. So
sure.
it looks exactly like how it's in prototype.
So CSS is basically hit or miss. Like even pros don't get the styling correct in the first try. So you can make use of your developer tools on your browser and get a preview of what you're doing before you actually put it into code. Or you can just try a little bit on your own, hit or miss. That's it. So if 100 doesn't work, give 105 pixels or VHVW. Try it on your own. So start today, and you will get a hang of it um, when you're actually doing your project. So the home page is basically done now. It looks great, Saket. So
Yeah, thank you, Shishir.
page is looking just like our design. Yeah, somebody.
Yeah.
Did somebody on your pencils? Did somebody talk? You have a doubt? Does someone have a doubt? Okay, anyways,
Let's
Sakit,
continue.
what's
Yep.
next?
Now let's design this register page, I guess. Yeah, register page. In this page too, we have everything already done, like the image and this navigation bar. All we have to do is change this content of that page. So I'll copy all those things like header, except the contents. I'll copy of everything. I'll just copy everything now and paste it in here. I'll remove this content. Let's see how register page looks now. Yeah. Now all these things are already done. Now let's start implementing this part now. This register name, phone number, email ID, semester, and submit.
So Sakit will again be doing the same thing he did on the homepage. Write one component after one another and then style it completely. So that's what he's up to right now. And you can see before we started the session, we made a framework of how the what all pages we'll be doing today. That's called designing web. Like before you start, that's collect all your requirements and put it up as a design. You can do it in your hand also, by your hand also, or you can use tools like Adobe XD and there are many other tools also. So that's what we did. That's called a design first approach. So what this will help you. What will happen by doing this is before you even start your web page or start your project as such, you will know what you're up to and know what all requirements you need, what all your page will have, and what all we are up to right now. And before you will start your project, you will know how much time it will need, how many pages it's going to take, and what all attributes you are going to be using in it. So that's what we did before we started this event, this session. So that's called a design first approach. And that's also a very good practice to follow when you're up to a project.
Yes. Now we have to add this registration form inside this content. So we'll do it like this. We'll create a div for it and we'll give it an ID. Uh, you know how it looks like. We have it here. The contents of this is not quite visible because it's in black color. Now let's try changing its color. We'll create another CSS for this register.html thing. We'll create a register.css. We'll import this resume. To import this, we'll have to do the same thing again, and then instead of home.css, we have to do register.css. And in register.css, we're catching all of this ID, register ID. So we'll do that register, and then we want the content of it to be in white. Like see, you can see here the register is in white color. So I'll make it as white. I'll set there's a property called color which is used to set the color of text elements. So I'll set it to white. Now you can see it's in white color, and but register this register div is like attached to the left side of our screen. So give it some space. We'll be using some padding for it. Padding is like space inside element. So I'll be giving padding. I'll set the padding to like some 50 pixels or something. So yeah, it came here, but you can see here the register is in all caps. I wantedly wrote this in register to show you guys a property called text transform or something. Text transform. You can capitalize or you can make it everything in uppercase or lowercase. I'll be using uppercase here. So you can see register. Though I have written it in lowercase, when you give text transform as uppercase, everything gets converted to register. Everything is in uppercase now. So after this, we need to have some text fields like for name, phone number, email ID, semester, and submit. So what happens here is when we design everything by ourselves, it takes too much of time. So there is already a library called Bootstrap for this, which has already done, implemented some styles for this all text elements and all those things. So we'll be using that Bootstrap. To use Bootstrap, just Google it like this, Bootstrap. The first link you can click on it. There you'll get an instructions how to get this Bootstrap into your project. So now let's see how to get that into our project.
So basically, what Bootstrap is using HTML and CSS, the latest versions of HTML and CSS, a open source tool called Bootstrap. What they have done is they have pre-built some components for us to use, and pretty much everything you need for a basic website that includes your text fields, your containers, or your cards, or your buttons, or your nav bars, all those things you get it pre-built from Bootstrap. So make use of it. It helps you reduce your development time by a lot. If you sit and design and style every component on your own, it'll take some time. So make use of open source tools like this Bootstrap. There is some other thing called Material UI.
Material UI. And
Yes.
there is something called W3.css also, but that's not famous yet.
So
And these
Material
are,
UI is basically from Google itself, Google's Material UI, how they have built YouTube, Gmail, and all that. You get all those components to use it for yourself. How exciting is it? Isn't it? So it will reduce your build time by a very noticeable amount. Let's say if you take 30 minutes to design one page, if you use pre-built Bootstrap components, it will take you not more than 10 minutes to build it. So that's the efficiency you can achieve by using pre-built stuff. So Saket now is going to use Bootstrap to import his text fields and his buttons for the register page.
yeah, you can see here that they have said we just need to include Bootstrap's CSS. Just to include them, we just click on this copy button. It says copied. Go to your page, place it in head section. I'm placing it above our CSS because just in case if you want to overwrite some of the predefined CSS for of Bootstrap, when we do it, when we place it above here, our CSS overrides the Bootstrap CSS. So I'm placing it above our CSS files. So next I'll import this JavaScript also. So they are said to make it work like how they have built. We have to include both the CSS and JS files. So to import that JSS file, I'll click on this copy and I'll go paste it here.
So
Again, I'm
basically,
placing it above CSS just because if in case we have to overwrite something, we can uh, place our JS or CSS files below the one that we have placed here, and we can override it.
so basically, what CSS styling, what he imported is, it gives you all the styles that's required to build your import your Bootstrap elements and use it. And JavaScript file, the JS file, what it does, it imports all your functional uh, properties of your element that's being used. Something like when you click on a text field, it should get highlighted or something like that. Those things are built using JavaScript things. So that's what Saket imported right now. He didn't build this.
Yeah.
Bootstrap is an open source tool that's already there on the internet. Pretty much every single web page is built using Bootstrap or something like that to reduce their build times. So that's what we did right now. So
Yeah.
this is going to help you out and make your website look good and reduce your developing time also.
Yep. Now let's see how can we get this text fields from Bootstrap itself. So when we go to we'll just try to Google it. Text fields. Here you can see that they've already shown an example in the docs itself. The official documentation, we can get that from here. I'll post the same thing in chat. So we'll just try copying this up and we'll paste it there, and we'll make changes so that it can it fits right how it's in our prototype. So I just copied everything and I pasted here. Now let's see how our web page looks like. You can see here, but we need name, phone number, email ID, and semester. So we'll do that now. First field is our name. So we'll do this. We'll change it to name, and type should be text, because name is not like an email. It should be some text. So, and the labels, the label and the ID of the input should be same, because when you click on name, you can see here that when I zoom it a little bit, see, when you click on this name, you can see that this thing gets focused. So why it's getting focused? Because the name, the label has an attribute called for, and which is set to some text, which is as same as the ID of input element. So when you click on this name, this text box gets highlighted. Since we are not taking input email, this can be anything, and I'm just making it name.
So all that functionality you get it from JavaScript file, right, Saket?
Pardon, I couldn't get you.
All that functionality of highlighting and all that you are getting.
Yeah, that can be done in JavaScript also, but in the recent version of HTML, they have released this thing out. Like when you click on the recent versions of HTML of elements consist of both CSS and JSS bundled with that element itself. For like label and the date, there's an input type called date. When you click on that, a date, a calendar will be popped up. All those features we get in HTML5.
That's great, Saket.
Yeah.
So what Saket did right now is bring in a built-in component from Bootstrap and use it on our website. So now he'll be customizing it as per our needs and multiplying it as per our design. Like we have 4 input fields, 4 or 5 input fields. So that's what Saket will be doing now.
Yeah. Now here you can see there's something called a placeholder attribute. It is set to enter email. Let's just try changing this. Let's make it as enter emails. Let's see what happens. You can see here that it changed it to enter emails. So what's placeholder is, when you don't type any text into that field, you get that text. So let's change it to enter your name. When you make it enter name, you can see that enter name. Enter name as is being showed when there is nothing typed into that input field. I'll change it to Saket. That placeholder thing gets disappear. We don't want this. We'll never share your email with anyone, so we'll remove that thing. It's gone. Now the next field we want is phone number. So we'll set this to phone number. This should be when you type some phone number here. Here you can see it's getting displayed like how it should be displayed for passwords. To change that, we'll change the type to text instead of password. So when we do that, you can see here when we type some phone number here, the phone number gets displayed. Here also, the label is input password 1. We'll change it to like something like number. Yeah, we still get password. Instead of password, we need phone number as placeholder. So I'll do that. The next field we want is email ID. We don't want checkbox, so I'm removing this checkbox. Again, we have this thing now. So we want email next. I'll copy the same thing, replicate it, and I'll put it below here. I'll make phone number instead of phone number. The next field is email ID, right? So I'll make this email ID. I'll make this as email. So when it does some validation before we submit. Like just if in case we write Saket instead of Saket, that just complete my email address, it will refuse from submitting the content to our backend. So I'll make this as type as well. I'll set this attribute type to email. Then the placeholder should be email. Next field we want is semester. This should be of type number. The semester can't be some alphabet. So I'll set this type to number. And I don't remember exactly, but there is an attribute like min or max to set the values of minimum value and maximum value. I'll set this to 1 and this I'll set this to maximum value to 8. Let's see what happens. I'll change this. Let's see. I'll try typing it as 500. Yeah, it still gets displayed 500. Since the maximum value is 8, when you click more again on increment button, it doesn't get incremented. And again, first semester is minimum value. So this is semester. And are there any other fields? No. Since there are no other fields, and we want this submit button to be displayed on the right side of it, and we want this entire register container to be displayed a little more bigger than this size. So I'll hold that register ID and I'll set its width. I'll increase its width like 500 pixels. I'll try increasing it. Yep, it got bigger. And we want some space between each form group, right? So since class attribute is set to form group, we can change. We can catch out of this by using this element using dot selector. Like classes are selected using this dot node, dot, and then dot then class name. This in this case form group. So I'll give some padding around it, like 10 pixels. Let's see what happens. Yep. Now we got some space between all of them, and we want this submit button to be on right side. So there is an class called float to right, float RIGST. If this is set, I guess this might go right. No, it didn't work. Let's see. Let's try googling it. Float right. This isn't working. What I'll do is I'll wrap this in a div and make this div as flex and then align this button to right. Let's try making that.
So Saket, CS049 asked, how did the like the last field of semester come as incremental steppers instead of
Yep. See, or when you set the type to number, you get these two buttons. You can see here. You will get these two buttons here, using which you can either increment or decrement. When you set this to something like text, you won't get that one. See, you're not getting that increment or decrement buttons. You get that buttons only if this type is set to number. I have set it to number. You can see that. And now here you cannot type something like I'm banging on my keyboard, and you can't see a word here. Any alphabets. You can only type numbers here.
So we solved two problems with it. One is you don't have to manually enter it, and sometimes people will mistype something and put as a Mr. 9 or leave it as 0 or something like that. Can't happen with this form right now. What Saket just built. So we solved that problem too.
Now you can here see that submit button went right. What I did was I have created a div here. I given it a class like submit button and made it as flex, and I aligned all the content. I made all the contents to go to the flex end. So that is what I did, and I got this submit button to right side of my entire form. Now is the register button done? This is it, I guess.
Color of it, color of the button, I guess.
Color of the button. Yep.
Yeah.
And now here we can see the color of our button is something like this color. This DC or this hexadecimal value. So we'll just since we have placed our CSS files below our bootstrap files, we can override it. How we override is like input. We have to target type as text, right? So I'll do this background color. I'll paste the color. I guess it might work. Yep, it worked. But when I click on it, the color gets changed, but I don't think that matters. Now, since phone number and name or of type text, only those two text fields are getting the color which we wanted. This is of type email and this is of type number. To target that as well, we'll give a comma and do the same thing. Input type is email. The color got changed too. That is it, right?
Color of the button too. And meanwhile, Srivatsa of EC just asked phone number is in text, type equal to text. Won't it create issue?
Like if I make this as number, yeah, that can be done.
Srivatsa, I guess in text numbers are also accepted, but if you want to explicitly key in just numbers, just change that to type equal to number. That's all.
Yep. That doesn't create any problem at all. Even if it is in text, we need to validate before the every form field we enter here. We won't just put all these things into backend directly. There is some middle thing where we process all these fields and will push to backend. So there we'll handle all these things. Just in case if it is not a number. See, even though if it's set to number, we can type E. So these validations can all be done using JavaScript. We'll do that in next part. We couldn't override buttons property, so I'm defining it by our own CSS. So Input type is submit, right? So I'll hold that element. I'll remove all the classes for it, so it doesn't get disturbed by other classes. Let's see now it's the basic one, the default button. I'll give some padding to it, because submit after you can see the submit button is congested, so I'll give some padding to it. Font weight property is used to it can be is used to define the how bold the text on a button should look like. When I set to 900, it's bolder. According to our design, this should be red, right? So I'll set the color to red. Yep, it's red, and this seems to look little bigger than our prototype. Like the submit is much bolder, so I'll decrease this to something like 500. Let's see how it looks. Yep, it's good.
So as you can see, even the register page is now done. The admin page actually requires some prerequisite knowledge of JavaScript and database to actually pull in data what we have entered in the register page. I'd like to ask if all the participants can stay on for another half an hour or something like that, because JavaScript and database is going to take some time to even initialize. Would it be okay if we can end it here and continue the rest of one more page probably tomorrow or something like that? Can you put it in the chat box if it's okay to continue? It's going to take some time. That's why I'm telling you. It may take up till like 8:30, 9 o'clock, because we'll have to brief you about JavaScript and then Firebase, our choice of database. So it's going to take some time. Saket, can you finish it in a half an hour? I don't think so, right?
No. It can't be done in half an hour.
So I guess it would be wise to um, probably just make the design of the admin page and leave it to it for today.
Yeah.
So Saket, carry on with the admin page.
Fine. I'll copy this whole register.html since everything is pretty much same. See, you can see here. Instead of this text fields, we'll be placing some label or something, so that we can display the users who are registered here. So I'll be doing that now. I have copied this entire register.html. I'll paste the same on admin.html. So let's see how now it looks like. Home, register. Now we'll start changing contents of this admin.html. So for that, I will remove this register.css. Instead of that, we'll create our other CSS. admin.css. We'll remove all this contents. Yep. We'll change this to admin. We'll start styling it, but we want to have a heading with content as admin. So I'll create that first. Let's see how it looks like. See, you can see here that it's somewhat like grayish color. We want that to be in white. So we'll target that h1 inside admin. Admin is we have given the ID as admin, so we'll do we'll write hash and then admin. Inside that we want to target h1, so h1. We want that to be in white, so I'll make color to be white. Yeah, that's changes are getting reflected because we haven't imported this admin.css. So now we'll try importing it first. Instead of register, we want admin.css. That's done. Yeah. Now you can see admin dot yep, that admin heading is in white color. What we do here is we just those who have registered will just display their names here. Those who click submit, their names gets displayed here. This everything would be real time. When you click on submit, your name gets displayed. Or whoever clicks next to you or like after you, those names also gets displayed here. This gets displayed in real time. So just in this case, we'll just create static page for this, like their name, just their name and their USN. So that I'll create a something like a label or something. Okay. I'll wrap all the content inside a div, and I'll be making this like naming this with an ID. I'll give it as an ID has like student. Inside that I'll create another div and give it an ID as student. I'll place two paragraphs here. One showing name and the other showing it is his or her USN. Now let's see how it looks like. Now we'll start styling this student. Before that, we want this admin and all its content to be displayed somewhere here. So we'll give some padding to it. (170 pixels). I'll make it as 170 pixels. So all the contents are displayed in like almost center of the page, like how we want it to be displayed, where we want it to be displayed. We want the name of the student and the USN should be side by side. So I'll target student ID with student ID as student, and I'll make it as flex. To make it as flex display, there's a property called display. I'll set it to flex. By default, it displays side by side, and there are two paragraphs inside it. So we want the paragraphs to be on left, the content of the paragraph one to be on the left side of this student div, and the other to be on the right side of the student div. Again, just like how we did for this navigation bar, we'll do the same thing for this. We'll set the minimum width of the let's see how much width does this student div occupies. To see that, we'll just give it a color. I'll give it a color to it, and I'll see how much. See, you can see that it occupies just this width. If we even if we set the set justify content as for space between, it doesn't affect anything, like, because the width is just this much. So I'll change this width, and I'll set it something like minimum width as 500 pixels. Let's see how much does it looks like. It's okay to be 500 pixels. I'll give some padding for it. 10 pixels everywhere. When I gave it some padding, the box size kind of somewhat increased. To stop that from happening, we can use this property called box sizing. When we set box sizing to border box, it sticks to this width. You can see it sticks to this 500 pixels width. Now, when I do justify content as space between, it kind of makes name to go left and USN to go right. Name and USN aren't placed in the center of this div. You can see here that name and USN are like above the center. So to make it center, I'll set align items to center. This makes it center.
So the whole red thing, whatever data we feed into the registration form, that's going to be visible for the admin on that page. As every single entry is going to be iterated, how many number of times it's been entered. So that's what we are planning.
Yeah. Now this text and USN are getting displayed. When we'll just like iterate this. When we iterate this, the content may get something similar to this. When we do this, this is how it gets displayed. But this is not how we want it to be displayed. We need some space between each entry. So to do that, we'll set some margin top and bottom for that. This is a shorthand notation for margin. Like when you want to give some margin to all the sides, you can give it like this. This is left margin. This is right margin. No, this is top, right.
It basically goes in clockwise direction: top, right,
Yeah.
bottom, left.
Yeah. Instead of specifying it like margin left, margin top, margin right, margin bottom, you can use this shorthand notation. I'm setting margin top and bottom same. So like I'll set it to 10 pixels, and then margin left and right maybe 0 pixels. That might be fine. So I'll see. Oh yeah, you can see here that every student div has some margin between above and between them. So this is it. Admin page is almost, I think it's done.
It's done. So we're done with the static part of our website. The design as such is done for all the 3 pages we had planned. We could not get into the dynamic part today, but that will be probably be scheduled for tomorrow if we can make some time. So we'll continue the session tomorrow. Meanwhile, we'd like to take your feedback, and please undermute yourself and let us know how you felt the session was. We'd like to interact a little bit. If you have some doubts, if you want to know what any part of it, or you want to get it explained again or something like that, please unmute yourself and you can ask us now. Also, I have pasted a link on your Google Meet chat. Please open that and give us a feedback. It's just a few fields that will help us to improve ourselves in what we are up to as a tech club. Please fill that. Before you leave, please fill that with please fill that so that we can organize more such informative sessions for you. And please unmute yourself and talk to us. Please interact with us.
Yes, Saket and Shishira. So
Sir.
it was a good, excellent session. So informative session. So keep it up.
Thank you, Srinivas sir. I hope it was
Thank you.
useful. Uh, all these participants were was it useful enough? That
Hello.
does this give you an idea of what you can use in your hackathon and stuff?
Hello.
Hey,
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Hey guys. It was a great session. It was so much useful. Thank you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to learn more from you guys.
thank you, Sanjana.
Thank you, Sanjana.
Is there anybody else that would like to maybe have a question or something like that? Sanjay Shri has a question. Can you please say what Flex does?
Yeah, this is what Flex does. When you place some elements inside Flex, you can either display it in like in column or row wise. You can handle the child elements that of that particular div which you uh, made it as Flex. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any more questions?
Hey guys, I just want to add a point here. So, for all of you who are viewing this, you would be very amazed to know that this is the first time that Saket and Shishira are doing something like this. So I'm sure it didn't look like their first time. They were absolutely flawless. They had an amazing hold to the session and on the whole. So I just want to appreciate you guys for taking up this initiative to teach all the people who attended this session in a very great manner. So yes, that's something I wanted to say.
Yeah,
Thank you.
even thank you, Karthik Pravishankar and Aditya for organizing such a beautiful talk. And
Thank you, sir.
yeah, in the further days, we expect more events from
Absolutely,
Tech Club. Okay.
absolutely.
Yes,
So,
sir.
part two of this session, web development, intro to web development session will be held either tomorrow or day after. We'll see when we can make some time for it. We'll certainly let you know when the second part of this will be. We are not yet done with what we had planned. We still have to make the form work and retrieve the data back. So that needs implementation of database. So that's something that's going to be there in part two, completely dynamic. Website management is something that's going to be covered in the part two of this session. It's going to be scheduled either tomorrow or the day after. Hope this session was useful. And thank you, Karthik. Thank you for organizing the session, and thank you everybody in the tech club and Department of CSC for helping us make this possible. Thank you, Srinidhi sir. And if anybody has more questions, please WhatsApp us or you have our phone numbers, I believe. So you can call us. And the repository and this recorded session will be shared to you. So you can get back and if you have some doubts or something like that, you can get back to it. The whole files will also be shared to you. And please fill out that form, Google form, the feedback form, so as to we can improve our explanation skills and improve our knowledge also. This is our first time, like Karthik mentioned, this is our first time managing something like that, giving off a session like this on our own. We are also learning. We started probably a year ago and we have learned a lot. And explaining it like this was a great opportunity for both of us. So there will be a part two of where this came from. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you everybody for making this possible. Hope this was useful. All the files and resources will be shared.
Also to add to what Shishira said, so this is just the first day and the first session that's happening. So as a part of the Tech Club's events, we have other two events lined up tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be having Prajwal who will be taking the introduction to data science. And so yeah, and on Friday, so me and Aditya we'll be taking a session on Git and GitHub pages. So this is not the end of it. As Shishira said, this is just the beginning. So we would want to know, we would want to have a similar headcount for all of these sessions as well, because that is the only thing that motivates us to do a lot of things like these in the future. So please support us just like you have done today. Um, Please come in large numbers and put out the word on your class groups. We'll be more than happy if you do that. So yes, that's it from my end. Thank you.
This tech club thing have formed. This is a new thing from our college. All the management and principal have motivated us to build a tech club in our college. It was high time that we needed one to organize events and all that, and to basically have a forum for like-minded people in development and basically the field of technology. It is not limited to CSI, CC, or anything like that. We would also love to include all the departments into this and learn what they are up to, what is new in their technology stack. We'd love to include even mechanical, civil, everybody into this, and this is just the start of this. This is going to be a big thing, probably a weekly thing that's going to happen in our college further on. If our HOD, if our principal agrees to it, we'll make this a weekly event or something like that with all your support. We would like to see everybody participating in this and improving themselves along the way. So please fill out the feedback. That's the least you can do right now to help us grow. And anyways, we're going to end the session right now. So this was a good 2 hours. I hope your time was useful, and meet you on the part 2 of this. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We'll be ending this now.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Saki. Thank you for co-hosting the event with me. You're great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shishira and Saket. And thank you everyone for attending the session.